Hello, and welcome back to Factorio Space Age, where we are on Aquilo, and we are basically ready to start making something new. And I want to get away from Aquilo at some point. So we're going to we're going to start a space platform. I'm going to build a mobile factory. And the sharp eye among you will note we are on timeline C because I actually spent some time playing the game off recording to work out what I wanted to do next at this point. And I have gotten I got pretty frustrated here on Aquilo. It's time to go do something else as a palate cleanser before I come back. So we're going to start building a space platform called Mobile Factory. And I am going to launch it around Novice. Basically, it's going to be this big, huge block which is going to go from planet to planet to planet, and between planets it's going to be gathering all sorts of resources, and when it arrives on a planet, it will provide whatever it has that the planet needs. Now, while that's building, the next thing I want to do is I want to get the power improved, because we are running low on power here. So the first thing is I'm going to take all of this, and I'm going to flip it around here. I'm very carefully going to not hook it up quite yet to our reactors, because, and to put not too fine a point on it, if we cooled everything down right now, it would be bad. So I'll put in a couple extra things of fuel here. What I want to do is when this guy gets up to temperature, I want to hook all this up. Now, these guys, actually, if I move it one to the left, I should be able to get my heat pipes out. Like I said, I want to wait until this is all the way up at its maximum temperature, so when we add the new stuff, it doesn't chill it down too much, and we still get our power out. We have some steam in the tank, not a lot, because, well, we are drawing more power than we should be. Now, what I probably ought to do is reduce my power while I'm doing this, so we are going to do that. I am going to remove power, not to the solar farm. I am going to remove power to as many things as I can. Like I said, we're fiddling around with our power generation here. This is dangerous. I do need him to cover this guy. I do not want to cover down to the south. There we go. So we check this, and I still have that one power heading north. In a larger base, I would be able to turn a switch on and off to connect and disconnect my power. So we are connected up so only the power plant has power. I put a couple of extra bits of uranium in there. So you're heating up. And this guy has 17K. That's pretty good. I think we're good enough. I'm going to drop this down here. And we need to pull in heating for those guys. Come on, come on, come on. Okay, we're getting some water over here. Steam buffer in like that. This heat pipe wasn't really necessary. I mean, it's useful if we were going to go out north and south, but in this case, for now, we're just going to do this much. So notice we are at 93.1 megawatts here. We have a tiny bit of water here. I think we're good to go to put the power back in. So yay! Power plant back online and back connected into my power network. In all the places it was redundantly connected into the power network before. So there'll be a bit of an excess draw right now. Oh, that's right. The total here also includes stuff I can get from the accumulators. But we now have 16 steam turbines, which put 5.82 each. So in theory, our turbines can turn out 90-something megawatts. So it's not clear to me why we are not seeing the 90-something plus megawatts as our maximum. Okay, we got a trivial amount of steam. We've got 28 ice there. I'm gonna go ahead and pre-feed all of this ice. And our reactor therms are 600 plus and rising, and we have held off putting more fuel in. That's correct. Okay, so we're good for power. I think we're good for power. Aquilo has this problem where it's fairly hard to restart it because these solar panels are running at 1% efficiency. They're only 60 watts each rather than 600. So, yeah. I think with that in mind, I'm just going to put all of these plants back to pure efficiency. So efficiency modules, I'm going to put that down here. I'm going to check and make sure we have everything. I don't think I put cryo plants in here yet. So cryo plants, when I wave this wand over them, they're going to be getting 2 efficiency 2 modules and no other modules. Okay, so this means that we are going to be producing less science. That's okay. We're not recovering much science from here yet. Notice we don't have a rocket. I also want to include pump jacks. Pump jack. Pump jacks are now going to be getting a pair of efficiency module 2s. Yes, this means that we are going to be pumping things slower. That includes the oil and it includes the other stuff. That's fine. Oh, these machines can go away. They're not taking any power up, but they're being an irritant. A visual irritant. Okay, with that in mind, notice that our cryo plant was here and we have chopped that way down. So I think we're good. I am going to park my suit here because now we're going to be working on our new mobile factory. Let's toss that in place. So, designing a mobile factory. Basically, my thought on this was, I want to grab all the asteroids I can. I want to crush it to produce all the materials that we can get from the asteroids. Okay. And then I want to take the crushed materials and I would turn that into other stuff that I can export. So that's our factory section of this. We also need to be mobile, which means we're going to need engines and we're going to need fuel production. Okay. We also need to be able to go out to Aquilo, which means that we not only need the grabbers to get the asteroids and the turrets to turn the small asteroids into the chunks that can be grabbed, but I'm going to need missile launchers as well. So the question is, on Novice, what do I have in the way of all of that? An easy way for me to see that is to start requesting things in. So let's start off by requesting in space platform foundations. We're going to need a bunch of it. Okay. I'm going to need some cargo bays. I want to use uncommon cargo bays if I've got them. I don't think I've got enough rares. I'm going to see maybe about 40 of them. Potentially, as we go from planet to planet, I want to pick up a lot of resources. So we get to the planet, we can dump a ton of resources down on the planet. And we see that we have 100 of those. Next thing is asteroid collectors. And I think I also want to use rare... well, do I have any rares that I can pick up? We have 4 rares on the planet, so I'm going to be using uncommon asteroid collectors. Let's grab 20 of those to work with. I'm thinking this is going to be a fairly large square, so we're going to start off with 20. I'm going to see if we can get 5 across each side, and then we'll look at what else we want to do. We're also going to need turrets. Gun turrets. Do we have rare gun turrets available? We don't have rare gun turrets available in any quantity. Let's actually have 100 of those sent up. Okay. Now this is all just stuff I'm putting in my inventory so that I'll have it available. I've only got this much to work with because I'm not going to put out the cargo bays yet. Actually, let's... Why not? I could... So one thing I'm thinking is that instead of trying to center the hub, I'm going to put it in the upper left-hand corner, which will mean it will be a nice short throw for it to put things onto the ammo belt and take things from the resource belt. I'm thinking about 2 sushi belts. Then we have to have a way to get finished goods in. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to set up these guys. Oh, let's set up some hotbars for this. Space platform foundations on that button so I can increase the foundation size. Cargo bays we're going to place. We're going to be placing asteroid collectors. Oops, asteroid collectors are uncommon. Cargo bays are also uncommon. We're going to be placing crushers, but I'm not getting better quality crushers right now. And we will be placing thrusters eventually. Okay, now going around, I'm going to be doing a sushi belt. Well, I'm actually going to be doing 2 of them. Been thinking about this. So around the very edge, what I want to do is I want to run a sushi belt that has the ammunition for the turrets, and will also have the asteroid chunks. Okay, that's all they're going to be on the outermost sushi belt. Oh, for once, I think I'm going to put a wall around this guy. There we go. Now, if he's in the upper left-hand corner, I need a place to draw the corner out without committing to where he is on it. So let's see here. Okay, let's work out what the left edge is going to look like here. You are going to need to pierce the left edge, so you're looking outside. Oh, I need turrets. So we're going to put in... Oh, that's a laser turret, isn't it? No, that's a gun turret. Okay. It looked like a laser turret. I'm going to make him stick out one further. That puts my gun turrets right on the edge there. Is that really what he looks like? Yeah, he really does have that one extra little thingy down the lower left-hand corner. Okay. And we're on the left edge, so this is going, oops, south to north, like that. Inserters. Mainly, I think I'm going to be using the bulk inserters and the stack inserters. So if an inserter is only moving one specific item, I'm going to use the stack inserter. Okay, and if it's using many different items, we'll use bulk. But in this case, I'm also, how do I want to handle these guys? Let's see here. If I put this in, like that. Okay. Now we're going to be controlling this on some sort of a bus. I want to run this. How far can we go with the green connection? Okay, so there's our, I think that's our repeatable unit. It means that our field of operations of our collectors is not going to overlap, but for somebody to sneak in that lane there and not be collected, he would have to be literally coming right straight toward us. I think I'm good with that. I can always increase to higher quality here to narrow the lane further. Or, hear me out. This would make it exactly match. Which would place those like that. So if we wanted to overlap them by one, there. And now let's put the connection between the two bits in the middle. There we go. So here to here. So this isn't the maximum distance a wire can go. Let's fill this in. And now this becomes a repeatable unit. I'm going to be only keeping out to here. That's because of this. I want to be able to turn a corner. Okay. Now these guys are going to be taking in some ammo. So I'm going to preset your filters so that you only grab ammo. We're going to be using this to a document. Normally we'll only grab whatever ammo this guy can use. But if I document it like this, this means that I can look at this and I can say, yes, I know these are exactly what I'm going to be using. Now, if I put this over here somewhere, let's start working on what a corner looks like. Corners are going to look like that. Let's make it like this. Now, what do we want to put in the absolute corner here? I could put a missile turret in, but that would be a bad thing because missile turrets would then reach out way too far and we'd waste a lot of ammo shooting at things that aren't going to come anywhere near us. I want to put the missile turrets inside the belt. And missile turrets, what do we have in the way of missile turrets? Mobile factory. Let's request some in. Rocket turrets, that is. Let's bring up 20 of them. And I want to see if I can use rares. I bet you I don't have rares. I have... Oh, I actually had 20 rares. Those are hard to build, though. I'm going to send those back down. I'm only going to use missile turrets in the front of the ship. So we're going to be using uncommons. Around most of the ship. So what I'll do is I will place uncommons, and then once we've got the ship built, I will replace the ones that are facing forward with rares when I can. And at some point, I will be upgrading so that all the stuff facing forward is rare. That gives us a little bit of extra comfort facing forward. Now, you guys you're going to want some stuff to basically keep you going. You're going to want some nuclear fuel. We're going to be using nuclear power on this. So I want to keep a stock of 500 fuel. Part of that is, if I fly over a planet and request things, I want to have enough nuclear fuel on me that if the planet needs fuel, okay, if it wants fuel, I'll be sending it down. I can't say don't send fuel to that planet. And under no circumstance do I want this thing to come back to haunt me. Add interrupts. I'm going to do a nuclear reload on this. Okay. And that basically says if we get down under 10 fuel, we are going to head back to Novice, and we're going to stay at Novice until we have at least 100 fuel. That'll probably be a reload to 500. I don't know. Anyway, there's the save interrupt time. Yeah. Okay, so whatever we do, wherever we are, if for some reason we get sucked down to under 10 fuel, we're heading back to Novice immediately to go get fuel. We're going to not have that turned on yet. I don't need the fuel in stock yet. What else do I want as a part of a regular refuel? Well, I'm going to want repair packs. Let's stock 300 of them. And I won't turn that on until we're about ready to go. Well, until we start ready to fuel up. Anyway, here's our corner. We're going to place uncommon rocket turrets. And what I want to do is I want to place them actually like this. No, I suppose I could place one there. There we go. And we're going to load rockets into these guys. Just like that. And all the rockets we're going to use we're going to be making basic rockets. Those are really super simple to make. And they should be good enough for around 1 kilo. So this has a nice wide field of action. I am going to pick a size now. Set you up like that. What I want to do is I want to make it so that this is the center of the ship. So now this needs to go in the upper left-hand corner somewhere. I do not know exactly where it's going to go. I can put it out over here. Actually, let's grab this, turn off the tiles, and make that a corner blueprint. Get rid of all of this. So the question is, if this guy's up near the corner, how do I want to get out its cargo area? Well, I think what I want to do is set up the cargo like this. I think I'm going to set up a 7x7 cargo area with that one thing missing. That'll be 48 of these guys. Okay. So altogether, this is 48 of those cargo bays. Beautiful. So that's my stick in the ground for where I want all of my cargo to be stored. And what this means is that we've got all of these edges to move things in and out of the hub. And I need my thingy here to be far enough to the northwest that things work. And what I am thinking is, just for symmetry, I'm going to have the cargo bays end just short of the center tile. And let's rough that out as the eventual size of my whole kit and caboodle. So there's the size of the whole platform. That means that this tile right here is actually the center point. Now we'll be picking up stuff. For instance, I will need to be having a couple of some thrusters pointing out the back. And we need some place where we're going to be throwing things over to the side. So there's a couple more holes that need to be put inside this. But I think at this point I can basically say, you are my where my platform is going to go to. Go down to here, and there is my corner bit. I want to get these in the right places. We can just fill all this in. This is going to be taking a while to launch all of these platforms, by the way. So all the foundations, boom, like that, and then out to that corner exactly. Notice it complains a little bit because there's actually a hole in the foundation where these guys poke through as well. Okay, so the question is that going to be a big enough factory? If it isn't big enough, what I will do is I will grab the right edge and move it to the right, grab the bottom edge and move it down. We'll expand the factory like that as we need to. Now, while that is building out, let's talk a bit about the hub and the belts. We have this outer belt. While this is going, I am going to put in some quick power here. Actually, let's just put 4 in there and 4 in there. If I separate these, I could bring in a belt with undergrounds. There. Okay. So that gets us a little bit of solar power, and it means that I can actually bring a belt in with undergrounds here. It can't turn around there, though. Ooh. It would be dumping out here. It wouldn't turn around. It would be coming out like that. So this would be just like that. So actually, these belts will be good for delivering things to the factory, dedicated delivery stuff to factory, and dedicated removal of stuff from the factory onto a delivery belt. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to set up the delivery coming in here. And I'll have 2 of these belts going out. Okay. So in, out, out. These guys need to be set to filter nothing for now. I don't know what we are going to be making here. But that gets us some dedicated belts. What are we actually going to be doing here? Well, the mobile factory needs to accumulate ammunition. So one of these incoming belts is going to have ammunition on it. And the mobile factory needs to produce ammunition out that direction. With that in mind, let's set it up. Oops. I want you to be requesting in a number of things so I have them handy Let's say I need a stack of bulk inserters, and I'm going to need a stack of stack inserters. I'm going to need transport belts. And let's just set up all these things so that we have some stuff to work with. I can manually send things down when I no longer need them. Oh, and you are importing from Novice. Thank you. We are not going to take this platform out to Gleba to build it. Just in case, let's bring in some long-handled inserters and some fast inserters and even normal inserters just because we might need them. I will be using a lot of efficiency modules. I'm going to bring in 100 of them. And I may be using productivity modules. Let's bring in some of those. Now, normally you can just do this on the request for construction. You put it in place and you wait. I'd rather have them on board and just poke at them. This also means if I keep a record of this, okay, if I keep this group assigned, this is mobile, actually mobile factory. Build goodies. So that would, if I just keep this here permanently, you know, assuming I have enough cargo space, this means that if we need to repair anything, it will just repair. With that in mind, let's move the repair blocks up here. Doesn't need to be in here. And this is mobile platform fuel. I'll go ahead and request that in now. We have placed our cargo bays, so we now have a tremendous amount of cargo space available. Yay. And that'll, obviously, that's not going to be enough cargo space. You know, you and I both know that. That's never going to be enough cargo space. So first connection, I am going to arrange for the ammunition to arrive here. Okay, and we're going to gate it onto this bus based on what is available. So we're going to take a red wire, not to be confused with the green wire that's going all... The green wire isn't connected. That green wire should have been connected. The way I built it was supposed to have connected it, and apparently I broke the connection on the corners. Yep. So one of my corner connections, probably when I pasted it down and I said, I want to paste it down with the belt turned. I should have turned the belt with the connection made and then connected up the other one. There we go. So green is connected all around. This green wire is the filter control for these guys. And I didn't put that in, so set filters, and this guy is going to do anything that's in there, it's going to put out on the bus no matter what. Okay, so you're unfiltered. This does mean I need to have these guys properly filtered. This also means I've probably picked up some resources. Yeah, we've got a few asteroid chunks that have already appeared on the belt. That's fine. So this green wire needs to have just a signal on it saying what we're filtering. So that's distinct from what these guys need, which is how much do we have. Okay, so we're going to do that. And this is going to be read belt contents, all belts. And these guys are going to say, well, first of all, we're going to split this. We're going to send all of the rocket ammo to the south. And you are going to be filtering rocket ammo Okay, and your condition is going to be number of rocket ammo on the belt is less than some quantity. I'm going to say 100 for now. We'll have to revise all of these things that say 100, because I don't know what the quantities are going to be. I do know that I'm going to want quite a lot of ammo on the belt ready to go, so these guys can always pick up another load of ammo. Here. Oh, wait a minute. Let's just do it like this. Okay, you are filter, banana ammo. Okay. So whatever ammo we have in here, we're going to put out on these belts for these guys to place on the outer lane of that sushi belt up to a given quantity. Now, I could have mixed these somehow. I could have gated them so we only draw from there, but we're just going to do that. And because they are stacks, it means we can put a lot of ammo on very quickly. Yay! So there's number one, is the outer gets the ammo. And we're also getting chunks on the inside lane of the bus. We need logic somewhere to decide on what chunks to put in there. I'm going to see if I can put my logic in this little area up here somewhere, as much as possible. Some of it's not going to fit, of course, but it is what it is. I will need stuff to make logic. I'm going to need constant combinators. I am going to need arithmetic combinators. I am going to need decider combinators. I am going to need selector combinators. I think I'm even going to bring up some Nixie tubes so I can put in some monitors on here so I can watch what's going on. And some display panels. This is kind of deluxe. We're building a big factory here. I want to be able to glance at it and see what's going on. And while I like the little colored lights we did in our rocket ships, we've got space here. Let's get the numbers. So for this, I'm going to switch these over like this. What I want to do is I want to read out how many of these guys are actually available. Let's put our combinators on our hot bar here. And I'm going to put the Nixie tubes on like that. Okay, so he's going to read out how many of these things we have. Just like that. So this is going to be enable, and we're going to read out the number of missiles on the belt. This is going to read out the amount of firearm magazines on the belt. Good enough? Good enough. We don't have any yet. Ooh. Okay. That's all right. That's all right. Actually, I don't want to put it right here. Potentially, we have other things we want to do, moving things in and out of here. But once we've moved them in and out, we'll have the belts going out this way. Actually, I could put my belt logic in here, I think. Just like that. And I'm going to use one combinator for each kind of asteroid. I'm going to have a little control combinator up here that says what's my quantity that I want. And we're going to need to have a reference of what is on the belt, just like that. So you also are going to be reading the whole thing. And we're going to be green. This guy's going to say how much we want. And the output of these combinators will connect up to the green bus. Oops, let's connect it up to that guy. He's closer. So in here, I'm going to put how much of each asteroid I want on the belt. Because it may be different for different asteroids. Let's start off with 100 metallic asteroids and 100 carbonic asteroids and 100 of these guys. Okay. Now this is going to say, the condition is metallic asteroids. Oh, wait a minute. I can do this with one guy, can't I? I think I can do this with one guy. Let's do each on red less than each on green. So green is how many we want. So if the red is less than green, then we output each like that. I do still need red wire coming in there. And green wire coming in the other direction. Let's take out the red. Put the red wire here. And the green wire here. And these guys, actually, I can move over one so that it comes in nicely. You are hold all belts. And I connected you to the output, didn't I? You were connected to the input. There we go. So it's red and green. There's our filters. Perfect. Stock threshold. This combinator indicates how the target threshold quantities for each kind of asteroid chunk. The outer, if the belt we are monitoring, Inner Sushi has less than that quantity for any of them. Now let's keep it simple. We're documenting what this guy is doing, not how it fits into the larger system. Target threshold quantities for each kind of asteroid chunk. Okay, now you generate asteroid grabber filters. Given the goal quantities on green and the current inventory on red, provide a filter signal for each chunk that is short. There we go. That's all set. Okay, second set of filters. Since we're dealing with filters now, no logic or anything, but I do want the turrets to only be shooting at specific things. Space. You are shooting at small metallic asteroids and medium metallic asteroids. The large metallic asteroids, the big ones, we wouldn't be able to hurt the big ones. So smalls and mediums of the three kinds. And we are ignoring unlisted targets. So we're going to grab that, and I'm just going to program all of my gun turrets to do those same filters. Okay. Now the rockets. Again, we don't want to be shooting rockets at the smalls and mediums. We're going to shoot at the big ones. We're also going to shoot at any huge ones. So if we ever send this platform to somewhere where it might have huge targets it will make a try. I believe you need railguns for those. We'll talk about that later. So we need to program these guys. We've only got them in the corners right now. I do need to put in rocket turrets in the middle. As our coverage here goes out just barely to the middle, but there's this whole area up here that's not covered. So I'm going to grab these. Oh, I need to set these filters as well. Oh, they're already set. Okay. We're going to come out here to the middle, and I'm going to put one of you in there, and I'm going to put one of you in there. Good thing I put those in, because that's going to be impacting how I do the rest of this design. We have a Inner Sushi Belt. And the design of the Inner Sushi Belt is going to be such that we need to snake it in here, and the mobile factory needs to have access to its contents somehow. And there's potentially 6 things that it wants to grab from them. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3. So we're grabbing the 6 things. So there's our potential Inner Sushi Belt. Now that may or may not be its final position, but that's where it'll have to be, coming next to the mobile factory. Is there anything next to the hub? Anything else the hub needs access to? Let's see. Hub connections. Get export raw materials from Inner Sushi Belt. Yep. Get export manufacturing goods from direct feeds. Yep. Get ammo from ammo production area, direct feed. Provide plate, direct feed. Provide ammo to dedicated belts. Got that. And fuel for reactors and such. So we have a number of inputs and outputs. There may be more inputs and outputs. I've got some space in here. We can do this. So we've got more space in here to work with some direct belts if we want. I could snug this up there. I could move these around, but I'm not going to. We can also put these guys in. Hold on, let's do all 6 of them here. Yeah, that's better. So this is going to be the quantities. Quantities on the belt? Quantities on the belt. Yeah, let's do quantities on the belt here. So these guys are going to go boom, 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 boom. Oh, you're going to go across the top, aren't you? And you are going to rebuild contents, all belts. What I'll do is I will have the quantity on the belt here, and then we'll insert it into the mobile factory if the quantity in the factory is less than a certain amount. I need a belt that has inventory quantities available somewhere, and all the data from here. All of these guys where we are doing inputs are going to require that kind of work. Let's leave this entire northern edge available for other stuff. I'm going to mark it with these guys for now. Some of them will be outputs. You are providing moving to speed and damage. Okay, so V and D are speed and damage. Moving from, it outputs the planet with a value of 1. Moving to the planet of value 2. If you're in orbit, it puts that planet with value 3. Also, if you have a schedule that says go somewhere else and you have 0 fuel in all of your thrusters, it'll still be, I'm in orbit. So we'll walk through that shortly. Well, not surely. We'll walk through that eventually. Now, quantities here, these actually are going to need to have a display unit. Let's put the display unit in there. It's never going to be 10,000 of anything on these guys. We're safe, right? Right. Display. So what I want to do is let's set this up on a condition. So these 6 guys come through on a condition. That'll work. Actually, I want to put these on the right, don't I? Sort of works. I want to complain here if we have not enough of something. No, I don't. What am I doing? I just need a way of labeling it. I can label it with these guys. Put this back. But I really only need 4 digits on each one of these displays. We're fine. See, this wire across here is why I like to put my displays to the left of things. If I put my turret ammo monitor there, I mean, you see my rocket ammo monitor. Yeah, I can do rocket ammo and turret ammo like that. That'll work. There we go. Now let's put this back as a normal belt. Just so I can see the items on it. So this is going to be, this is turret ammo, and this is rocket ammo. Okay, we're all set. So here we have the various items that are coming out onto the bus. I'm going to filter you for one of the crushing outputs, iron ore in this case. And you are going to be saying enable if iron ore is there. So that's our iron ore. I'm going to grab this, get rid of you, and set this as a parameter. Oops. Don't forget, when you do this, you have to confirm it. You are copper ore, so that's a metallic asteroid. The carbonic asteroid produces carbon, and under the advanced processing, it also produces sulfur. And this produces, okay, there's more I want here in this blueprint. On the green line, we've got the mobile factory data coming in. So here I'm going to enable if the amount of iron ore in the mobile factory is less than 1,000. That's just a placeholder right now. We're going to grab this again. Not parameterize. We want to select new contents, just like that. We're going to get rid of the underground, okay? Because sometimes the underground, sometimes it's the belt. Parameterization is, here's the thing. This is the threshold for the display. This is the threshold for putting it into the stock. This is stock quantity. What I want to do is I want to say P0 underscore stack size times, let's do 29 stacks of it. So 30 stacks would be 3 rows, 29 stacks. If we've got 29 stacks, we're going to be tossing more in. We're going to go over that to 30, so this will sit up. I'd really like to do 29.5, but I'm not sure we can do that. Let's see if that works. I want to get a half stack, so as we go up and down by a little bit, it doesn't jitter the display. Actually, we could go times 30 minus 20 items. So 20 items short of 30 stacks. There we go. Save blueprint. And we put it down, and we're going to start off with iron ore. See what it programmed it for. So we're going to run this up to 1.5K, and it stacks to 50. Okay. That's fine. We can always adjust this later if we want a different quantity. Copper and carbon and sulfur. Get all these programmed properly. And the last ones are ice and calcite. So calcite, it doesn't feel right. I think this did 10 stacks. No, it didn't. It did 30 stacks minus. $1,480. So the minus 20 worked right. 1,500 is 30 stacks. That'd be 3 rows of. Yeah, okay. Well, we'll use this. And these are quantities on the belt. I'm not monitoring the quantity inside the hub. For that, I would mouse over the hub and get it displayed. Perhaps for this display, the quantity inside the hub would be better. In fact, I think it would be. So I'm going to unwire the red wire. I'm going to turn this off, so if I connect a wire to him later, it won't just do bad things for me. So you are now going to take part in the green wire. Okay, so these are quantities inside the hub. We are going to need a third digit. Do I want to have quantity inside the hub for these guys? Heck yeah. Okay. I'm not sure these connected properly. In fact, I'm sure they didn't. You are actually displaying missiles. And you are actually displaying ammunition. There we go. So these are quantities inside the hub. We'll have to have bus displays up. Well, we got the bus displays up here for this bus. I think where I do my crushing, I will have the monitors for the quantities on this belt. One reason I like to have this is I can mouse over here. Here. Okay, mouse over this guy. We've got all our monitors visible when we mouse over the factory. So if I wanted to set up monitors for bus quantities, I would want to set them up here. Let's do this. I'm going to put it down. Oops. this down here. And the difference is just going to be this green wire connects to you. Rebuilt contents. So this will be the quantities on the bus. This is quantities in hub. Quantities on the bus. There we go. Let's put these down. I'm going to have to program these by hand. That's okay. Easier to do it this way. It brings me to the right page. You are carbon. You are sulfur. You are ice. And you are calcite. Now, this factory is not going to be my main source for calcite. If I want to do space mining for calcite, I will do a specific platform that just goes around it, is completely optimized for calcite, so we can get massive quantities of calcite out of him. This will provide small amounts of calcite as he drops past places. It is possible that if we have any planetary areas that need huge amounts of calcite, they will simply drain all of our calcite out of here, and then we'll have to get more before we can do more production internally. That would be really bad. We would have to make sure that that didn't happen, because I have no way of reserving. You can't put boxes down. I can put tanks down, but I can't put boxes down. Anyway, so there's our display. Now, if I mouse over the stuff on the upper right, there's our displays are all visible on that pop-up. And that's good. So we're an hour in. We have settled on our border with our defenses and our grabbers. We've got our turrets. We've got our missile turrets. We've got the outer sushi belt with stuff on it. We've got the inner sushi belt with displays, outer circuit with the displays. We've got some belts going in and out of our factory. We've got a small amount of that. We need to put thrusters in the bottom, and I need nuclear power. So I think the first thing I'm going to do is set up my nuclear power. And I'm going to actually start with the old blueprint here. We're going to go, not propulsion, power. There we go. This is the first one, right? Now I'm not going to center you. I'm going to bring you out over here somewhere. You've got a dedicated output and dedicated input. So there's the outputs. And there's the inputs. I may want to add more reactors at some point. If I did that, I would really want to redesign it so that I had the 4 reactors in a 4x4. I'm going to trim one of you guys off. Like this. Okay, so our outputs now have to be on long-handled inserters. And there's our inputs. And I think these guys, yeah, they are yellow inserters, so they take one at a time, And they're only going to fuel if signal F is set. Now, F is set under these circumstances. The total temperature of both reactors is less than 1100 Kelvin. 1100 K, yeah. 1.1 K, 1100 degrees. I think these are degrees C, and neither one of them has fuel. These guys are eating out their fuel, so they are ready to start doing stuff. This is my input of nuclear fuel, depleted cells. Come on, filters, depleted cells. And you are providing all of the uranium fuel cells. Oh, come on, filter. There. So we will keep uranium cells out here. I'm going to get them on a circulation here. So if we've only got a couple of them, they will stay circulating here. This is just pure paranoia right now. This is absolutely not necessary, because we are going to have a ton of it. But yeah, why not? So you guys are going to start to heat up. You are going to need to be connected to water. And the water is going to be completely different from what I had here. Okay. The other thing that's going to be different is I'm going to do more heat exchangers than I had here. This is a larger platform than our little teeny ships. We're going to do that. I'm going to put 2 of these in for each. The ratio isn't quite 1 to 2. But 4 to 8 should be good enough. Okay, we've got water in there. I am going to put in a reservoir for steam. Just like that. In fact, I am going to bring the steam all the way back to here. And we are going to need to be running pipes, so let's put the pipe on the hot bar. So as we make steam, it'll go into these guys. And this will get water from somewhere. These guys should be heating up. Good. They're nice and hot. They're not being, we're not actually using any heat, so these guys will hit the 1000 C. And we're going to be wasting some fuel. We're going to get to 1000 C and we haven't used up our fuel yet. So we could, in fact, include in this decision how much steam we have in our steam areas. Not going to do that, but we could. So the idea there would be your pulse reactor. You turn on the reactors and you make water into steam until the reactors are done. And you have tanks that can hold all of the steam that reactors can produce from a full thing of fuel. Now, I think I did that on Novice. We're not going to do that here. These are really just our buffer tanks. What I am thinking, though, is I might want to have an alert that will go off if this guy is low. Now my alert logic is going to be more than just low. If it's actually 0, I don't want to alert, because it's really not going to do me any good, right? So this green guy is going to say if the amount of steam in the tank, if it is greater than 0 and it is less than, say, 12, less than, say, 8,000, pick a number here that we want to alert. We want to put out an alert. And this guy is going to say circuit connection settings. If alert is high, then show alert. This is going to be a steam alert. We're going to put up a steam icon, and we say mobile factory steam low. Playback mode global. So wherever I am, if this steam gets low, I want to be alerted so I can come and go, oh my gosh, how did that happen? Let's rewind to the autosave previously and see if we can recover. And if not, reload to the autosave before that and see if we recover, and so on. Okay. Yeah, let's use that. So programmable speakers, I don't think we are automating that on Novice. Let's build some. Parametric production. Pick a place over here. Doesn't really matter. I can share your output. Recipe is that guy. Product is that guy, just like that. How many of them we're producing? 100 of them? Yeah, okay. How many fits in a rocket? Rocket capacity is 10. Yeah, that's good. Mobile factory. So we will get the alert in somewhere. Now, the other thing I would like to do is I would prefer to only, to not put the alert off. Well, what we could do is we could arm it when we're high and fire it when we're low. You know what? That's more logic than I want to do. I will work that out later. What I would want to do is a hysteresis where when we go over an amount, we set a flag, and we go under the amount, we clear the flag. Over an amount, we clear the flag. Under a lower amount, we set it, and that set it, so it turns on the alert. No, other way around. Let me think. I want the alert to go off if we are actively producing steam. Alert to go on if the steam is decreasing below a limit. So what we need really is the derivative of steam and steam. So if the derivative is negative and the quantity is low, then we turn on the alarm, and we leave the alarm on until the derivative is positive and the quantity is at least a little bit higher. I think I'm going to run without an alert for a while. This is too much sugar for the nickel for what we're doing today. We might want to reserve some space here to set that up. That's okay. Now, water. I want to produce water somewhere where it can be sent to the reactor and sent to the fuel area. And if there's stuff left over, we can send it elsewhere. So that almost sounds like we need a water bus. How about I establish a bit of a water bus? Goes all the way around like this, just in case we need it. And we're not going to go to the upper left-hand corner. We're just going to go as far as the middle of these guys. Okay, so if we're pulling from the corners with maximum distance, we end up looking like this. fine. So at these midpoints we have a little excess. And I'm only going to bring it to there and to there. Now, for this, what I'm thinking is we're going to use pumps. I'm going to set up a pump here. And a storage tank here. And we're going to, oops, just like that. That'll work. And we're going to say if the storage tank has at least, well, for the reactors, at least 1,000 water. Well, 1,000, yeah, 1,000. Get up to 1,000 water, we're going to start providing fluid to the reactors. We'll do something similar where we're making fuel. Next thing is, where do we put our rocket, our thrusters? Do I want to put the, should we put the water in next? Let's put the water in next. So you, chemical plants. We're going to have 4 chemical plants making water. And it's going to come out right here. Just like that. These guys are ice melting. Oh, you need to melt from you need to melt from this bus here. That's right. And we're just going to paint this around. I may relocate this bus at some point. But for now, this is a bus. Okay, there we go. And so you're going to be grabbing ice from the Inner Sushi Belt, and we're going to put it into this pipe. And these guys will run 24/7. If we can put out water, we're going to put out water. Okay, how are we doing here? We've got water, we've got power, we need thrusters and fuel. And the thrusters will replace some of our stuff. I'm thinking one between each one, so we end up with, well, if we put 2 of them together, we end up with something that looks like this. Okay, and they can't be flipped, so you have to do this kind of manually. Okay. So we're going to put one of them in on the left and one of them in on the right. Let's sacrifice this guy here, I think. If I keep them separated like this, I can put these back in later once I figured this out. that's centered. Okay, actually, yeah, let's just do it this way. So this is as close in as I can put it before I... You know what I'm going to do? I am not going to do that. I'm going to do something like this. Okay, and I'm just going to bring them straight up. So this guy is going to be... Whoops. Still need one in here to forward the green signal. That's cool. My idea is... these guys will go upwards. So if I move these out over here, that's even better. There we go. Need to put it down one. There's my thrusters. Let's grab from here to here. Put those back in. Grab all of this. And put it in here. I'm not sure why those have different stuff on them. It should just be like this. There we go. So this guy still has some guns. This guy still has some guns. So we still have coverage of stuff to the south. We're not interfering with that. We need to run fuel and oxidizer to these guys. I'm going to run these north somewhere. I think I'm going to reverse it over here. Okay. So the lower line is oxidizer. So that deals with the fact that the thrusters are not symmetric by turning into something that is more symmetric up top. So fuel and oxidizer production, maybe I can bring some of it in here. It's like I did 4 of these. I want to do more production of fuel and oxidizer than I did before. Let's take a look at what is this guy doing for fuel and oxidizer. You have 1 fuel and 1 oxidizer each, and I am going to want to double that. So that's the quantity I want. Well, you know, I could do these guys over here and these guys over here. So they both require water. Fuel. An oxidizer would want to come in somewhere. Here's the water. Oxidizer is on top, so you come across to here, and you come across to here. I like that. Okay, and you are oxidizer on top again, so we can just grab all of this out to here, flip horizontally, and drop you in just like that. Oxidizer goes down there, fuel is up there, and that's good. That doesn't give me any capability to do fuel flow control. Okay, so I'm going to need to have a little extra flow control over there on the left. That's easy enough to set up. He's over by 2. So we're going to have flow control pumps here. These guys also are going to get moved by 1, 2. Those guys are going to need to get their flow control from somewhere. Maybe I can put the flow control in here. No, this is going to be filtering stuff. Okay, let's grab our complicated version of this. I'm going to put you guys here. And the other half of it is this guy. Okay, now your output has the star, and your output has the star, so you guys come together on red. Fuel pumps come together on the red. I am going to bring the red across like this. Now you are just outputting a periodic signal, and you need to have information on where we are. So the red signal does need to get back to our inventory here. I did say I was going to have an inventory signal here. I didn't say how I was going to do it. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to run the inventory signal down this guy in parallel with him. So this green wire will have our inventory. You're going to have to be moved a little bit like that. I'm glad I didn't set these up to maximum length. Get you all arranged. Remember, this green signal is not what's on the inner belt, it's what's in our bay. It's what's in our cargo area. It's also the control signals from the hub. I will work those out if I need to. You go to here. You go away. You're not needed. If you are needed, you can pick it up from there. In fact, I'm going to go boom, like that. You need to come in somewhere. I'm going to bring you up to the corner. These guys tie into the green wire. These guys are tying in. This is the belt quantities here. So it's different green bus. So we look at this. This is what is in the hub and the signals from the hub. And that's all on green. And green is going to need to feed this input here. Okay, so you know that we are in orbit around Novus. And your red signal is currently going to be doing not a lot. You should be seeing this on red. You should see the occasional star. You should see, if I hook this up to star, I should be able to see it. I'm not going to leave it hooked up to star. Yeah, we see it. Okay, so we're going to turn that off. These guys are going to be on if star needs to be 2, so I need to be greater than 1. So the condition there is that we are in flight to somewhere and it's the timing tick. So that will control our fuel flow. Now, in theory, I could move these all down to be next to the fuel area. So we're not above it. There we go. And I think this green connection would be better served by going like that. There we go. So you put an intermediate in here so this drops down nicely. And this is still set up. And now we're not encroaching up above. So there's our fuel production, and all the fuel production needs is water, which we don't have yet because we're not crushing yet. And these guys also need iron ore and calcite. So I'm going to set up 2 inserters here. One for iron ore, which is going to be stack inserter. Well, actually, no. The rates here are not large. And I've inherited these guys from elsewhere. Let's take off the speed module. So without the speed module, our total rates are 18K per minute or 300 per second. So I think that would be by 75 per second per thruster. That's probably more fuel than we want to be using to move this thing around, so we're good. And for that, we need very little ingredients. I am going to use blue inserters then. That'll be able to handle all of our inputs. In fact, I could even set these up to only pick one at a time. So once we get resources in, we should be able to start making fuel. Now, what does our belt look like? I'd really like to know how much actual belt space I have. So one horizontal belt is 81, so it's 4 times 80 is 320 belts. And each one has 4 per segment, so 320, 640, 1280. Call it a 1,000, or maybe let's say 900 items on each belt. So if we've got 3 items on the belt, we need 100. We need 300 of each. Okay, so we're going to go 300 each here. There we go. And I don't know what my resource mix is going to be going into the actual factory, so we'll just bring in a lot of each of them, or a lot is hopefully a lot. Okay, next thing, I need to balance quantities on these. So I need crushers. They're controlled by a decider combinator to decide whether we are crushing or not. Now the crushers are going to have an input and an output. The inputs are going to be nice and slow. We're going to pull from the belt here. We want our outputs to go on the inner lane, which means we do need to have something like this for our output. This guy will be deciding if we are crushing or not. It will be dependent upon the quantities on the outer belt. So I am going to have to put a sampler on this. We need to make sure we don't conflict with any of the green stuff when we do this sampling. Oh, we'll just sample on the first one, and I can chain these down. Okay, so the first one, read and hold. You are going to say if the number of metallic asteroid chunks on the belt is greater than, well, remember, 300 is our maximum amount. So we've got 250 of these guys, and one of the others is low. So if this is less than 150, let's do 100. We've got less than 100 of those and more than 200 of those. Then I am going to run the metallic asteroid reprocessing. In fact, I am going to put in a whole bunch of stuff here. I wish I could just right shift and I could copy it down. So instead, I'm going to change this to whatever it is we are recycling. Oops. Let's make that a 1, and we're going to output recipe number 9. Actually, let's make this 1. Recipe is 0. So this is going to be the first ingredient of U. Greater than, greater than. But I can't just take the minimum of 3 of these guys and just put it in. That 1 asteroid and the actually oxide and metallic, just like that. So if our seeded thing is above 200, and this is less than 100, or that's less than 100, or that's less than 100. Now, obviously, if we're doing metallic asteroid chunks, this condition will never be true, but that's okay. We don't care about that. Add description. Enable asteroid reprocessing, recycling. of signal 0. I'm using signal 0. If we have less than 200 of its ingredient signal 1, and actually more than, less than 100 of one of the asteroids. Save description. That's our decider combinator. Okay, now for the filters, I'm not going to do anything fancy with the filters. This guy needs to be able to put out all 3 of them. So we're just going to set the filter here to all 3 of these guys. And I'm going to use the same filter for input. So when you pick what you're going to do, you're going to do it here. Actually, we could make this just pick up 1. Yeah, let's just make this pick up 1. Okay. Okay, so there's our blueprint for doing this. I'm going to put down a second one. Same programming. And bring you down. You need to be set recipe. Like that. I am going to plan this out by putting down 1 for each of the asteroids to begin with. Oops. Create blueprint here. You don't include the tiles. Parameterization. So I'm using 0. So this is the recipe. This is the input. You were an ingredient of 0. There we go. Oops. Oh. You're the recipe. You're the ingredient. Confirm. Save blueprint. Now we go and put the blueprint down for each of the recycling recipes. Metallic and carbonic and oxide. So we will want to have a couple of things we're doing here. These are going to go inside here. We need to recycle these guys. And then we also need to do something similar. We need to crush them. Now the crushers will have an output of the original thing being crushed back to the bus, like that. But they will also have outputs on the other side. So they will have the common thing and the less common thing. Okay, I'm going to set these properly to begin with because you can't set a parameter to be an output of a recipe. Now you are going to be conditional based on what's going on the left-hand side. Common outputs, we're going to go on the near side, are iron ore. This is because we're going to output a lot of them. In fact, I will need to use a stack inserter for this. So we're going to put stacks out on here and they will just go right down. So we need the common ore or the common thing from that or the ice. Where'd the ice go? There it is. There's our common outputs. The uncommon outputs are going to be copper ore or sulfur or calcite. There we go. So those will go on the far side of the bus. Now there's two possible recipes we will be using here. Actually, let's use a green wire for this. And a red wire coming for this guy. Or I could do the other way. Red, red. Oops. Yeah, I like that better. Yeah, let's use green wires for the recipes. A little bit of consistency. So that actually is going to be setting stride for this. We need to move this belt to the left by 2 to make this fit. We'll also need to make sure that the water doglegs around these guys. So what do we want to do here? If we don't have enough copper, so if copper is less than 300, then we definitely want to be using the Asteroid Fancy Crushing. There we go. So if we've got less than 300 copper, we use the Fancy Crushing. Now this one says if we have at least 300. Now at some point we're going to be throwing things off the bus. So if we get up to 400 of anything, it's going to go off the bus. 400 of 3 things gets us to 1200, and I think the bus was slightly north of that, so we're good. So if we've got enough copper and we don't have enough iron, okay, then we want to be using the simple version. Okay. And none of the filters are going to be set based on any of that. However, I do want to make it a little bit easier for me to plug in this stuff. So this is going to be a parameter. ADV crushing parameter. Boom. And simple crushing is a parameter. That just makes it so I can place these down a little bit easier. So now this one, we're going to do the advanced crushing is carbonic asteroid crushing, and this is going to be simple carbonics. And this is going to be advanced oxide and simple oxide. These guys need to all be set to set recipe, which I again forgot. That will fix its recipe once these get populated. Now, how many machines do I want here? Well, this takes up 1 plus 2 for each. So if I wanted to fit all of this in, these guys need to move to the left a bunch. Let's get these out of the way. I'm going to move all of this to the left by 2, so it's got our correct separation. So now if I put one of these in down here, that will straddle properly. So how many of these could I line up in theory? In theory, that would be 33 of them. So we have some gaps. We have, well, I'm going to leave a gap above these guys. So these each count as 1. So 33 minus the 6 is 27. 27 divided by all 6 of these would be 4 each. So in theory, I should be able to do that. I am going to put these in here so they're kind of out of the way. I'm going to see how this looks before I put them in their final places. Well, first of all, this is going to conflict with that. This does fit on the bottom half. So if I don't want it to conflict, I can run this up to here and up to here. Okay, so that's got that bank. I think I like that layout. So shuffle this in here, verify I've got nothing conflicting except for the pipe down there. Should I put it here? I don't have the pipe even. There we go. We now have crushers and we do not have enough power. Really? Goodness, we need a lot more power than we've got, don't we? Well, part of that is that I haven't been putting in all of my efficiency modules. Everybody gets efficiency modules. We're still on the solar panel, of course, because we haven't got those going yet. Once we get some ice coming in, we'll be good. But I do want to be able to get this going from cold reactor, and this is a good way to check it. Okay, these guys are starting to pick up some ice and turn out some water. Storage tank isn't getting a whole lot, but it's getting some. Yay! And of course, the hub is going to be picking up all the raw materials that it wants. Here's our quantity on belt. Looking good. Picking up a lot of carbon that we're not using. We will need to have belt ejection done very soon. I think I'm going to eject belt off the left. What I want to do is anything where we have too many of them, we're going to get it off of the belt and do something about it. So here's our belt quantities here. I can put a thingy in here. So we're going to say, bring you in on a green wire here. So green for each thing on green, it is greater than 350. Output each one. Actually, output each count. What I'm going to do is I'm going to set up a filter. Actually, I'm going to point downward. I'm going to put this in red. You are going to say set filters. I'm going to do 6 of you guys. So what I want to do is I want to get a lot of... So if you have excess of anything, you're going to have a lot of you gone. Actually, that is way overkill, isn't it? That is way overkill because we're not going to be throwing stuff away that with that many of inserters. There we go. Anything that appears on this belt is going to go out. Yeah, let's do a little bit of extra. So we picked up a lot of extra ice. Wait, these guys are wrong. So if we have not enough copper... Oh boy, this is the wrong recipe. So for this recipe, it's ice and calcite. So if we don't have enough calcite, I need to reset these. That's okay. We'll just throw away the excess as it comes in. So if we don't have enough calcite, we want to run the fancy stuff. If we have enough calcite and we don't have enough ice, then we run the simple stuff. And this is, again, this is going to be sulfur. And this is sulfur versus, sulfur versus carbon. And this one is proper. Anyway, look over here at our numbers. Actually, I can, while I'm looking at this, I can mouse over this to look at the numbers. You can see we still have way too much carbon, but we are getting rid of it. You can see the ejection belt going. So anytime it goes over 350, we grab some more. So around Novice, we don't have a large number of oxide. So these two are going to stay low as long as we're in orbit around Novice. That's kind of unfortunate, but it is what it is. Considering that our number one requirement right now is ice. But we do have 7.7K of water, which means we are now feeding water to the reactors. And we now have 12K steam. Yay! So our steam guys are half full. So we're getting power properly. Now, if I think that we are stable on power, I can remove my solar panels. Do I believe that for a second? No. So these guys now, same thing. I want to grab all of this and make you guys 4 each. And let's see if this all stacks up properly. We're going to start out here. Okay. Now, this sampling is going to conflict with that. So we're going to bring the sampling from here. There we go. Grab this whole thing, which looks like it's about the right size. We're going to bring it in here. And we're just going to put it right like that. If I go north, we conflict. If I go south, we conflict. We just fit right between. So it looks like I picked approximately the right size for the factory. If I went larger, we would have more slots for things. If I wanted to, say, go from 4 to 6 of these, I would need to go, half again as long almost. We'd have to rough it out and figure out what it comes out to. But we could lengthen this if we wanted. So that's not a big thing. So yeah, at any point we could basically draw a horizontal line across here, chop everything, move it south, and then join it all back up again and then add new stuff in the middle. I probably want to do that so that we would add something that would be this distance. So it would be from rocket turret to rocket turret, roughly. Anyway, we'll work that out in the future if we ever want to extend the size of our platforms. So this should give us a stable source of all of the inner stuff. Notice that we're feeding all this stuff gets fed back into the mobile factory up here. So we'll build these stocks up until they're full. And at some point, this won't be taking them anymore, and we'll end up with more stuff here. Notice the sulfur is sitting here. This is a stack inserter, which means it's going to wait until it has a full stack to move. Which is okay by me. Okay, we consumed enough reactor fuel that it wanted to bring some more in. That's cool. We are accumulating, well, eventually we will be accumulating the spent fuel. Right now, I think that Novice is going to be able to request our fuel away from us. Now, all the extra crap is going out here because we're running the advanced crushing to get the rarer stuff. So we end up with excesses of all the other stuff, which we're not using yet. That's fine. Okay, fuel is, we should be getting some fuel here at some point. Are we getting, I almost messed that up. Okay, now we have water for the fuel. I need to send the water along here. So the water bus is okay. We're not, Normally when you make fuel, you put the fuel in fuel tanks, don't you? I'm thinking, yeah, you normally put fuel in fuel tanks. Let's rework it. Okay, so for the lower ones, you guys are going to get pumps here. I'm going to be reworking how we move our fuel around. Okay, and fuel tanks. Currently we're coming off the top there. So I can put this in like that. Okay, so this guy will be making fuel into here. Whoop, wrong one. Delete. Okay, so this is my oxidizer. And it's going to need to come in to this guy. Right. Oxidizer is here. Okay, so oxidizer for this thruster comes through this pump, which is controlled. Yeah, all because I forgot to put these out. And this comes in through this pump, which is controlled. And oh, that's bad. Okay, well, we do have to bring it over here, I guess. Okay. So this needs to come from there somehow. How's that gonna... I'm seriously eating into this whole low profile setup that I wanted to build. You know what? I think I need to move my fuel production up above melt, just so these guys have the right stuff. Because I don't have any way of getting from here. Oh, wait a minute. Okay, these are set. I'm going to set filters on these so that I can see at a glance what we're moving. So you're thruster fuel, and you are thruster fuel, and you are oxidizer, and you are oxidizer. Put you there. Put you there. You need to get to there. Okay. And the fuel comes in like that. Okay, so there's fuel. Oh, no. Oxidizer. You need to get over to there. It's squirrely, but it gets there. Oxidizer comes out here, goes around there, gets pumped there. Gets pumped there. This guy is here, and he gets pumped there, and gets pumped there. Wow. Okay. And the oxidizer supply needs to come in just like that. We need to do something similar over here. Okay, the first thing is these guys are kind of forced to be like that. Okay. Correct. So let's grab all of this. I'm going to grab the whole thing. Knock out these guys. Flip it horizontally. I wonder if I could just slap that in. There will be a reversal of the filters. So you are you. So I do this. Why did that guy go away? Let's do it bit by bit. There's those pumps. There's those pumps. That all lines up. Here's the tanks. There's water. And you are actually coolant. And you are actually fuel. Okay, so it's a little bit different here. You can't have a solid one there, so it has to go up and around. Let's just do that. Okay. There. So the next step is, do I want to include these on my inventory line? I think I do. In fact, I'm going to include both sets of them. So when I'm looking at fuel, we're actually going to be 2,500 is our 50K is going to be our maximum. Uh, $36K. Green wire comes up and eventually goes to here. This should be showing 36K on... Oh, that's right. This isn't showing me the green thing on the right. It's showing me... There we go. So we have access to the amount of fuel, and it's going to be 50K is going to be our top fuel. Also, that means that if we're running high fuel, we know we've got fuel on a boat, because the most we could have would be one side saturated and the other side not. So the question now in my mind is, do I want to run pipes back and forth, equalizing these fuel tanks on starboard and port? I think that would be even more spaghetti than I normally like. That's got the fueling. No, we're making fuel. We're not making ammunition yet. We have accumulated a bunch of stuff. Did we accumulate any ice? I don't think we've gotten. I don't think any ice has made it past our ice melters yet. That makes sense. We really need to melt ice. We are using up the water as fast as we are making it. So we are not yet ready to tear down our power. Not until we get a lot more ice coming in. So we have full steam, we have full water, we're just not getting any water in. So these guys are selected to... You know, what I'm thinking is we may want to have this do the basics if we don't have enough water at the bar. and ice is greater than 100. Okay, so we're going to stop using you. You're going to say if calcite is greater than or equal to 300 and ice is less than 300, or ice is less than 100. Oh, you're not hooked up. Well, that affects all of these, doesn't it? There we go. So now we're going to use basic ice, which gets us 3.25 ice out of every, as opposed to the other recipe. Let's see the other recipe. So this guy gets 1 asteroid chunk becomes 5 ice. This is 1 asteroid chunk becomes 3 ice and 2 calcite. So we do want to run the basics to get some ice out. Once we have enough ice, then we'll start working on calcite. Now these guys, we have hardly any asteroids of any kind because we are literally processing them as fast as they come in, because we need everything. We haven't actually started doing any of the manufacturing yet. I'm going to call this a recording, and when we come back, I will continue work on the mobile factory to start doing manufacturing on it. I think we've got enough space here to do what I want to do, which is fairly simple. Basically, we're going to take iron and copper ore, and we're going to melt it, and we're going to turn it into plates. We're also going to melt copper and turn it into copper cable. Okay. Then we are going to, in some way, produce green chips, which we can do on this factory. I will need to evaluate whether I want to use the copper cable, or if I want to take copper plate and turn it into cable in an electromagnetic guy. What else do we want? Oh, we need to build ammunition also. So do not forget, I'll make a note here to do. Ammunition. Iron plate. Or ammo. Explosives. And iron plate for rockets. Actually, I could do it on a to-do list, couldn't I? A to-do list, add new. Let's see, melt iron, ammo, ammunition requires, so this is actually magazines, firearm magazines requires, let's see, take iron plate from hub, send magazines to hub. Save. Add new. Rockets. Take iron plate from hub, air belt with ammo. Take explosives from elsewhere, send rockets to hub. We're going to need explosives. Needs coal. Grab it. Sends explosives to rockets. Rabbit line. Explosive also needs sulfur. Needs sulfur from Inner Sushi. Okay. Add new coal. Needs water. Hold on, let me check these recipes. So here's our recipe for coal. So coal needs carbon and sulfur and water. Needs water, needs carbon and sulfur from Inner Sushi, deliver coal, private line to hold on. Explosives. Save. Explosives. They need coal and sulfur and water. I'm going to move the coal up. Since we need coal before any of the rest of this, we need explosives right after coal. Needs coal private lines, sends explosives to rockets. Needs sulfur from Inner Sushi. Needs water. Update. Check that. Double check that. Yep. So coal feeds explosives. And actually by placing the guys down here, that'll be an even better reminder of what we need to do next. You are making rockets, which require iron plate and explosives. Rockets. Take iron plates from hub, explosives, private line, send rockets to hub, and then firearm magazines. Just like that. So what I'm thinking is we bring the iron in between them. We have these two guys outputting onto the same belt. And then this guy gets fed from there, and that guy gets fed from there. And that's good. The other things we want to do over here, I want to put in some foundries. Okay, so first of all, we do want to melt iron ore like that. And one of them is going to be producing cast iron. We may do more than this. And this is going to be producing steel. So we will be able to provide iron and steel to planets like Aquilo that are challenged. We are going to be melting copper ore and turning it into copper plate. We are going to be melting more copper ore and turning it into copper cable. Okay. We are going to be making green chips. And we are maybe going to be making copper cable in one of these. I'm not sure how that all works out. We are going to be hitting all of these with efficiency modules. I'll work this out whether I need this guy or not later on. So the question is, either we do these two and this, so this is going to be, I'll just set these up as an alternative. And the other alternative is you and, whoops, Use a Control X to pick this up. I didn't mean to do that. We can make this decision right now, actually. So if I did this, this would be pretty much balanced. Okay. Tinge less iron than we wanted. Yeah. Okay. And this guy, the same bit less of iron plates. So I think these two are equivalent until you start putting productivity modules in. So I'm going to do it the simpler way. Actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to end up building a lot more of the plates. Let's do the 2 plates. Okay. So what I'm thinking is we'll do 3 machines making plates. And 3 machines making iron plate. We will then intercept some of the plates and put it through this guy. I'm going to be doing 2 machines making you and 2 machines making you. We'll have to worry about how this all comes together. So per minute. Oh, we don't need that many coils. 285 per minute. That's going to overflow our stock fairly neatly. That's good. We want that. If I can set all these guys up, this is going to give me some really good burst production. So this is 12.3K. How fast is that per second? 206 per second. Wow. Anyway, the idea is here to have a lot of burst. Let's plan that out. This says we need 3 more of these guys, so Control X. And this says basically 1-to-1. Yeah, I was going to call this a recording 10 minutes ago, wasn't I? Let's get those labs in. I guess we had to wait for a launch. Oh, I didn't actually request in stuff here, so you and Chem Labs and platforms used to be plants, and we are also using foundries. Now if I Alt-X over all of this, this shows you that I am possibly making more coal than I need, twice as much. Okay. 7.5 per second, 1.875 per second. Explosives are short. No, explosives are over. Okay. We have enough explosives. We have enough coal. Oh, thinking. direct insert. That would work. Also, we could use inserters to move that. So you don't really need to pack all these in that tight. There we go. Okay, so that's what we'll do. Next time we'll pop this up and we will hook all that up and maybe get it going. I will see you in the next recording.